Hello friend, how are you? Welcome to Tripan Study Center. Today we are going to do the chapter of social science and highlighting each and every point of it. Let's see what is our topic today. Social economical development and empowerment of disadvantaged group. This is the most important chapter here for all the students. And there is a first topic arrive here, meaning of social economical development. There is an important topic arrives here, meanings of socio-economics and development. What does a social economic development means here? This is the most important question here. What do you do? Does the social economic development means here? In order to be understand this concept, let us begin by the defining development. Generally, development is defined as a state in which their things are improving, but it is defined in a different way in a various context and social, political, biological, science and technology. The language and literatures also here. In the social economical context, development means the improvement of people's as a lifestyle through the improved education, income, skill, development and employment. It is a process of economic and social transformation based on culture and environmental factors here. This is the most important here. Socio-economic development, there is the process of social economical development in a society. It's a measuring with the indicators such as a gross domestic product, means GDP. The GDP is the most important here, and the life expectancies is a literacy and the level of employment. For the better understanding of social economical development, we may be understand the meaning of social economical development separately here. And on your screen, there is a most important here the GDP as a gross domestic product here and socio-economic development show in this picture. And picture also is represent here social development component here. This component on the social development here. And social development is a process which result in the transformation of a social institution in a manner which they improve their capacity of the society to fulfill their aspirations. Its impulse as a quantitative changes in the way to the society shapes itself and the carries out it is a activity such through the more progressive attitudes and the behavior by their population. The adopting of more effective process or more advanced technology. As you seen, there is a state as below there is a close relation among the environment and way to living and technology. The economical development is the development of economical wealth of country or regions for the well-being of their inhabitants. And economical growth is often to assume by the indicate the level of economical development. The term economical growth refer to their increasing or growth of a specific measuring such as a real national income and gross domestic product also here means GDP or per capita income. This is the most important here real national income here gross domestic product per capita income. And the term of economics development on the other hand impels such as more. It is a process by which is the nation improves their economics, political and social well-being of its people. The most important terms arrive here. A gross domestic product. What do you mean to the gross domestic product here? Means GDP. The gross domestic product or gross domestic incomes is one of the measuring of the national income and output for a given country as an economy. It is a total value of all final goods and service produced in a particular economies within a countries and borrowed in a given year. This is the most important border given 1 year. There are gross domestic product and also known as the gross domestic income. And the next year, national income. The income earned by the country of peoples, including labor and capital investment. It is the total value of income in the nation's base and the profit, interest, and rate and pension payment, etc. during a given period. Usually 1 year. There is a 1 year concept here. And per capita income here, the total national income divided by the number of people in the nation. And this what each citizen in the receive if their year national income is divided equally among all. Socio-economic development, thus the process of improvement in the variety of ways. It has to influence all aspects of human life in a country. But do you think the concept of socio-economic development take care of all aspects of development? It is a major indicator. The GDP is a specific measuring of economical welfare that does not be taken into the account important aspects such as losers as time, environment equality, is of freedom, social justice, and gender equality. Another indicator there per capita income also does not indicate the level of income equality among the people, and this indicator do not ensure that the benefit of the development has been to equally distributed and have the rich a particular to be a disadvantaged group of societies, and which why is the new concept of human development. The human development is begun to the used or is a focus on the overall quality of life that people enjoy our country, the opportunity they have and their freedom they enjoy. Our next topic is the most important here, human development. This is the most important topic that I have here, human development. As we have seen, when we talk about the economic development, the focus is on the income only. For a long time, the journal notations about the development was a accumulation of the wealth or economical assist. The human development of focus on the spending and weddings on the people as a choose as well as the rising their level of well-beings. It is a cover almost all the aspect of human life and people as a choose like economic, social, political, culture and educational, physiological and biological, mental and emotional. Income is only one of the many components of development. Human development place a people at the center of development and emphasizes that the purpose of development is to enlarge all human choose and not a just income. It's regard economical growth as a stimuli, but emphasizes there a need to be pay attention to its quality and distribution. You may be now to understand that if the social economical development of a country is the models along human development frameworks, it can provide a better understanding of development and its impact on the quality of the life of the people. We may appreciate it is a better manner when we try to understand the human development index means HDI and development as a mean to the measuring to human development. The basic use of HDI there is the measuring of country level of development. The human development index HDI is a combine the three basic indicator and the dimension here. Let's see human development index and indices and dimensions here. On your screen there is the most important here, indices and dimensions. A long and a healthy life. Life expectancy of birth as index of the population, health and longevity. And second here, knowledge and education here. Adult literacy rate and the combined to primary, secondary and tertiary gross environmental ratio. And the next year, a standard of living is a gross domestic product, GDP per capita at a purchasing power, purity means PPP. PPP means purchasing power parties and United States dollars. This is important here, density standard of living here. The analysis of human development, the report published in 1990 indicates that India is away to the pace almost all the bottom of the table in the medium level category. Out of 177 countries included in the report, India as a rank was 128 in the year of 2007 to 8. The government of India has also made an attempt to be developed state visa wise the human development index here. The figure 2.52 is observed that a variation among to the state. Let's see the map here. On your screen, there is the most important human development index here. You know that there is the most important human development index here. The blackest shadow here show here 0 to 500 growth higher. But here is the most important, the light, dark, there is the moderate of here. And there is a low is show here. There is the is where is the low level, there is important. On your screen the high level is show here Kerala side, Maharashtra, Punjab. But other is a moderate here show Kolkata, Gujarat and some part of important. And the other is here our lower part almost all over the country. There is a most important on your screen human development index on a map here show. The our next topic is the most important here sustainable development. This is the most important here sustainable development here. As we all observe and the feel, we are using the natural resources almost careless to be meet our needs. Know that there is a true the Indian people their almost use of natural resource are careless to our needs. This is the most important things here. It is said that the number of minerals like coal, petrol, and many more. This will be a last only for a few decades. This is the most important. If you go on using them at the present rate, future generation will be not have to facilitate of using this resource. It is a fair for our generation to deprive their future generation of these resources. The concept of sustainable development has emerged in his context. It is about to concept that is the defined as a development that meet their need of the present without compromising their ability of future generation to meet their own needs. This is the most important terms here. Development that meet the needs of the present without compromising their ability of future generation to meet their own needs. There are many things that it is relevant only in the environmental context. It actually does not focus solely on environmental issues. As shown in the figure below, it is includes economical development, social development, and individual development and environmental development. It is a pattern of social and economical transformations. Development that is optimize their economics and societal benefit are available in the present without adversing effect in their lack of potential for a similar benefit in the future. A primary goals of sustainable development is to achieve a responsible and equitable distributed level of economic and social well-being that can be perpetuated as a continually for many human generations. It's take care of the needs and requirements of all sections of the society, including their disadvantaged group also. On your screen, there is a most important diagram here. Sustainable development. Sustainable development included here social development, economical development, and individual development, and also is environment development. There is a most important diagram here. Sustainable development on the both sides. The next topic is the most important here, social economic development in India. There is the most important terms here, social economic development in India. We have discussed so far various aspects of the significance issue related to the four concept: development, social economic development, human development, and sustainable development. The based on our appreciations of this, let us now try to understand there is a social economic development taking place in India. Through there are various effort has been to made for the development of country right from the day the country become independent. It is signed 1990 that India has emerged as one of the fastest growing economic in development in the world. It is the most important here. The 1990 that India has emerged as one of the fastest growing economies in the development of the world. It is said to be the economical of India is the 12th largest in the world by the market exchange rate and the 4th largest in the world by the GDP. The measuring on the purchasing power priority means PPP is a basis. This is important here. This has been to accompanied by increasing in the life expenses and the literacy rate and attainment of food security. There has been significant reductions in poverty. Though the official figures estimate that 27.5% of Indians still live below their national poverty lines of $1. There is a $1 means PPP, around 10 rupees in the nominal term. A day in 2004-2005, it's also said that India's recent economic growth has widened economic inequality across the country. And despite there is a substantial high economical growth rate, approximately 80% of the population live on the less than US dollar of 2 a day is PPP. Even though there is a right to the green revolution, both an end of the famine in the India is ensure the food for the entire population. For 4% of children under the age of 3 are underweight, and third of the man and women suffer from the chronic energy deficiency. This is a very sadness here. There are 40% of children under the age of 3 underweight, and third of all women and men there is a chronic energy deficiency. This is a very sadness here. Comprehension was based on the per capita income, but this was the abandoned by the most of the international organization because it was given a misleading picture. It is well now that purchasing power of different currency and price substitutability is, for example, US dollar is here can be far fear of goods and service in the United States than rupees 50, which is equivalent of US dollar can do in the India. Therefore, by the investing Indian currency equivalent of dollar 1000, and one can be have a much better understand by living in India than that is USA by the investing the same. Our next topic is the most important here, religions development. This is the most important religions development here. There is a topic here imbalance and there is socio-economical disparities in the India. This is the most important imbalances and there is social economical disparities in the India. We have discussed about that there is effort made for the social economical development in India has been to aim at the holistic development of all the religions of the country. In fact, one of the major objectives of development planning initiated immediately after independence has been to be reductions of religion disparities by the promoting the development of all the regions. The planning and implementation process has focused on approach of regional and development. But one of the critical problems facing here India has economic is the sharp and growing regional variation among different states and Union Territory. This is important here. There is regional variation among the different states and Union Territory here. There are content differences which are already created by nature. For example, you may be find in the figures below that figures and some area has a plant topographs and fertile alluvial soil and abundance of water like a Indo-Ganga plant. Whereas there are content area which have a hilly terrains, dense forest cover and the less fertile soil like a northern eastern part of country. And this difference is created by the nature is called regional diversity here. This is important. This difference create our natures are this called regional diversity. But there are contain a difference that are human made and this difference are inequalities are related to be indicators like a pre-capital income. And agriculture growing industrial growth, expansion of transport and communication of facility, literacy and status of their health. The status of health is also important and this human made a difference or inequality between two regions and known as the disparities. Disparities is important here. The human made difference and inequality between two regions and known as the disparities here. You maybe understand disparities in the better way when you observe figure and it is these are disparities that are causing a concern. Let us analyze and try to understand the disparities in the respect of the following here. First of all, here there is a picture here. Diversity. Diversity is the most important here. Our surrounding the natural resources here. Diversities, and on your screen there is the most important natural resource here. And the next picture is the most important here. Is the disparities here. This is upper as a picture is here. It is a diversity, but lower here is important here. Disparities. Disparity is the most important. Urbanizations, village, and there is a farming. There's a most important picture on your screen here. And the next picture here, there is agriculture, and there is a this area here. This is a disparities here. This is important here. There is a disparities in India. This is the most important things here. The first of all here, per capita income. The per capita income is the census of the level of economical activity in the region. There are a very wide regional and disparities per capita income. For the year 2005 to 6, national average of per capita income was rupees 25,760. There is a most important there are whereas only 7 states which have a per capita income higher than the national average. The bottom 7 poorest states that had to per capita incomes below their national average are Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Orissa, Rajasthan, Jharkhand, and Chhattisgarh. There is a below the national average. There are Bihar and Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Orissa, Rajasthan, and Jharkhand, and Chhattisgarh. And these states are the home to be more than half of Indian as a population. This is important here. The states are home to be more than half of Indian population. The next year, poverty. A state view of poverty ratio has witnessed a decline over to the year. Though the poverty has a decline at the macro level, rural, urban, and the interstate disparities are continuing. The poverty ratio is still level is high in Orissa, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Bihar, Jharkhand, and Uttar Pradesh. The poverty rate in the urban Orissa is 43%, and the rural Bihar at 40% are some of the worst in there is a wall. On the other hand, the rural Haryana is 5.7% here, and the rural Punjab 2.4%. The compare well even at the global level with the sum of the middle income countries here. But next year, industrial growth. The initially distribution of the industry in India was determined by the historical process of growing right to the primary by the interest of the British rulers. As a result, most of the industries were concentrated at the few centers. And this pattern has a continuity in the post-independence period as well. Depth all the attempt made so far to expand the process of industrialization of various regions. There is the most important here industrial growth here. And the next year, agriculture growth. Regional disparities is agricultural growth have increasing over the year with the state of Punjab, Haryana, and Uttar Pradesh pushing well ahead of the others. And the per capita average food grain productions has been to the highest in the Punjab and the lowest in the Kerala. This is the most important here. The per capita average food grain production has been to their highest in the Punjab and the lowest in the Kerala. Mizoram and Maharashtra are their lowest level in the respect of irrigated area. A state like Punjab and Haryana achieve a high rate of agriculture productivity because of having extensive irrigation facility and intensive use of fertilizer. In a majority of the state, agriculture growth is yet to be pick up their needed pace and come up to be their potential. This is important here. And the next year, literacy here. It is one of the major indicator of socio-economical development, but there are great disparities in the respect in the various regions. According to Census 2001, the literacy rate is the highest in the Kerala and the lowest in the Bihar. It's important. 2001 literacy rate here highest in the Kerala and lowest in the Bihar. This is the most important for the competition view. Where is the the all Indian average of literacy rate was 65.38%. It was a 90.92% of Kerala and the only 47% in a Bihar. And there is significance of variation among the rest of the state also. And this is important here. The next year, transport and communication. Transport and communication in the India are of the various types. The common forms of transportation are roadways, railways, airways, and waterways. When you look at their data is respect of the even one of these, and you may be appreciate their prevalence or disparities. For example, in the respect of the road length, there are some states and that are at a very advanced level, whereas there is a some in the which their road situation is a very poor. With regard to total road length per 100 kilometer, Kerala is the top the list, whereas the state of Jammu and Kashmir is at the bottom. This is the most important here. The Kerala is the top list and state of Jammu and Kashmir is the bottom level. The next year, cases of regional disparities here. This is the most important cases of the regional disparities here. Whenever we try to identify the reasons for a regional imbalance in the various regions, we tend to think that population growth, literacy, and the lack of basic infrastructures are responsible for the underdevelopment of content states. But if we analyze this reason further, we find that this factor is not only the reasons are underdeveloped in the backward state, but also it is an outcome. It's important. For example, there has been to unabated of population growth and prevalence of literacy and the lack of basic infrastructures in many underdeveloped states. Primarily because there is socio-economic development has not taken place in the way it was taken place in the other forward states. It is therefore interesting to analyze their following major cases of regional disparities here. It's important, the major cases of the regional disparities here. The next historical perspective is important here. During the colonial rules in the pre-independent era, the area which were not important for a commercial and political angle receive a little attention and they remain under development. You know that there is important pre-independent era and this era not important for the commercially political angle receive a little attention and remain under development. And those areas still continue to be ignored by their independence. And the most prominent is among such as area are the tribal area of central and northern eastern India. And geographical factor like here, topographs of regions can be constrained at the development. The desert region Rajasthan and difficult hill terrains of northern eastern regions are examples such of case. It's important geographical factors here. And the next year, unequal distribution and variation is a use for natural resource. This is an important point here. Unequal distributions and variation in the use of natural resources here. As you may be aware, natural resources like coal, iron, ores, oil, natural gas and other are not available in all the states. But these abilities alone has not ensured the development of such states. There are content states that have made a good use of this privilege, but other like Bihar, Jharkhand and Odisha have not been able to do so. This is an important point here. There are content state has been made to good use of this privilege, but other like Bihar, Jharkhand and Odisha have not been able to do so. And the next year, remote area from national market. The remote area from national markets here. The distance of regions for there is national markets has also affected the development of economic in those area, especially the northern eastern region, and making it difficult to be alert their growth process. The next year, lack of basic infrastructure. The state that has been developed infrastructure facility like a road, electricity, and transportation facility have made a speedily progress in terms of social economical development. You know that there is an important the state that a developed infrastructure facility like a road, electricity, and transportation facility has made to the speedily progress in terms of social economical development. The state that lack these facility find it difficult to the equatorials is utilize their allocated investment and also to be attract private investor. This is the most important here attract to the private investor here. The next here poor governance. The most important factor that influence of social economical development is the quality of governance. You may be observed that a state that has to move forward has been to make a spell of good governance for most of the periods. On the other hand, almost all of the backward states are those that has not been to able to develop in basic infrastructure, has been struggling with a law and order problem and have not been to able to make a optimum utilization of the national resource regulated by the planning commission. It's important. They have not been able to make optimum utilization of national resources localized by the planning commission. The poor governance has also been discouraging the private investor to set up industries or pressure any other productivity and activity in those states. This is the most important point here, poor governance. Poor governance is the most important factor. There is not growth equality of governance here. Our next topic is the most important here, disadvantaged group of the society. This is the most important. Disadvantaged group of the society. As we have seen emphasis in the lesson, the ultimate goals of social economical development has been to ensure that all the sections of the society are the embedded to be a part of the development process. All must have equal access to the outcome of development and equal opportunity for the forward economics and social mobility. Third, it is sad that India has been to the making notable process and progress also. This goal of reaching the development outcome is yet to be attained by all. There are many population groups that are till today discriminated both socially and economically. There is a many population group that are till today discriminated both socially and economically and are not be able to participate freely and full in their development process and reap it is a benefit. This is now as a disadvantaged group. These are known as a disadvantaged group. There is a participate freely and fully in the development process and the reap the benefit. This is a disadvantaged group. Some of such a group are the scheduled caste, and scheduled tribes, and other backward classes, is minority, and women also. According to the Census of India 2001, SC consists of 16% and ST here 8.2 respectively here. The majority and other backward classes also have a significant share, whereas women consist of almost half of Indian population. And we shall discuss their effort for the empowerment of scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, and human. Our next topic is the most important here, empowerment of scheduled caste and scheduled tribes population. This is the most important point here, empowerment of scheduled caste and scheduled tribes population. The urgent need for the empowerment of scheduled caste and scheduled tribes in the country was realized in India one of the evils of the independent to reduce the regional disparities as the unlift of the status of communities. Constitution of India is a make as a number of commandment and under it is a various provision for the development of these groups. Toward the fulfillings, the commitment, the government of India has adopted a three-pronged stress of social empowerment here and economical empowerment and social justice to ensure the removal of disparities here. This is the most important here, three prevalent of stairs here. And elimination of the imperfections and the separations and provided to the protection to these disadvantaged groups here. First of all here, social empowerment. Education began to the most effective instrument of social economical empowerment of their disadvantaged groups. High priority continue to be accorded to improve the education status of these groups. The following measuring are important here. First of all here with respect to the elementary education and various incentive in the form of abatement of tuition fee, free supply of book, midday meals and the scholarship are the provided. Social focus has also been on student and Kasturba Gandhi Balika Vidyalaya, Navodaya Vidyalaya and National Talent Search Schemes. This is the most important education here. There are also major scholarship program. Post-matric scholarship are awarded to the promote high education belong to the matriculations. And pre-matriculation scholarship are given to be encourage children of scavengers and those engaged in the maintenance as a work to the various educations. Upgradations of matric schemes is aimed to be extending reminders and social coaching. Rajiv Gandhi National is a fellowships for the SC student, provide a special incentive to the process in the higher study as a research. And coaching facility are provided to the student preparing for the various competitive examination. And hostel facility are provided to both girl and boy for a progressing to education for their upper primary stage onward. And the next year, economical empowerment. Employment and income generation program has been to the launch from their economical empowerment of social disadvantaged groups. The following apex of financial organizations has been to set up. The first setup here, the National Cheap Cost Finance and Development Corporation, mean SFDC. The National Scheduled Caste Financial Development Corporations provide the financial and the other support to be beneficiaries for the taking up to various income generating activities here. And the next year, National Safai Kramchari Finance Development Corporations. This mean to the NSKFDC and provide to financial and the other support to be Safai Kramcharis for the taking up to the various income generation activity. This is the most important here, Safai Kramcharis Finance Development Corporation. And the next year, the National Scheduled Tribe Finance and Development Corporation means NSTFDC. Support the various income and employment generating activity through there is a loan on marketing support and training and so on. And the next year, the Scheduled Caste Development Corporation means SCDSCS. The financial employment oriented schemes that all cover agriculture and allied activities is including mine irrigation and small scale industry, transport and trade and service sector. And the next year, the Scheduled Tribes Development Corporation means STDCS. The financing as the channelizing agency and extending financial and other assistance to be beneficiaries. The Tribes Cooperative Market Development Federation of India Limited means TRIFED Tribe. Provide to marketing assistance to be ST as a for a collection of the minor forest produce and surplus agriculture produce here. And the next year, social justice. The Constitution of India is a guarantees of protection from a social injustice and all from to the exploitation, and some protective regulations has also been to made. The protection of the Civil Rights Act 1955, the Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribes, Prevention of the Atrocities Act of 1989, and the Scheduled Tribes and other traditional forest devours recognize of forest right, and the Act 2006 are important. Our next topic is the most important here, human's empowerment. There's the most important here, human empowerment. The principle of gender equality is a surrounding the Indian Constitution. It is a permeable fundamental right and fundamental duties and directive principle. The Constitution not only grants to the equality to women but also empowers the state to be adopt measures of positive discrimination in favor of women. However, there still exists a wide gap between to the accepted goals and related mechanism on the one hand and the situational relative of status of women in India. On the other hand, the access of women is particularly those belonging to the weaker section of society to education and health and productivity resources in the inadequate. The remainder largely marginalized or poor and socially excluded, but a number of programs are beginning implemented and the various kind of efforts. As sovereign, there is a flowing figure has been to made to be empowers women. The flowing major step are begun to the undertaken from empowerment of women. Let's see picture. On your screen, there is a most important picture women's empowerment here. There is the picture the show the humans is a different types of employees here. This is the empowerment of women show in this picture here. The next year, economic empowerment here. This is important economic empowerment. Since a woman is a comprised, there is a majority of population below their poverty line. Poverty education programs are specially addressed to their need and problems. In a view of the critical role of women in their agriculture and allied sector as a producer and centrate, there is effort are being made to be ensured that a benefit of trainings, extension and various programs reach them in the proportion of their numbers. Comprehensive support in the term of labors, regulations and social security and other support service is provided to women to enable them to be participate in a various industrial sectors, especially electronics, information technology and food processing, agro industries and textile. This is important here. And the next year, the provision of support service for a woman like a child care facilities included to the careers at the workplace and the educational institution. Home for the aged and the disabled are began to the empowered to be create on enabling environment to ensure their fully cooperation in social, political and economical life. This is important here. And the next year, social empowerment. Let's see social empowerment here. The social empowerment is the most important here, and according to the social empowerment here, effort and began made to be ensured equal access to the educations for women and girls, and eliminate to discrimination, universalize to education and eradicate of literacy, and create a gender-sensitive educational system, and increase the enrollment and the rates of the girls and improve their quality of education to facilitate to lifelong learning as well as the development of occupational, vocational and technical skill by human. A holistic approach to be human as a health and which include to both nutrition and health service is began adopted and special attention is began give to be need of women and girls at all stages of the life cycle. And the next year, in view of the high risks of malnutrition and disease that a woman face, focus attention is began paid to be meet the nutritional need of women at the all stages of the life cycle. This is important. The next year, elimination of all form of violence against women, physical and mental, whether at a domestic and societal levels, including those arising from the custom, traditions are accepted, practice has been to the getting topmost priorities. This is most important here. And the next point here, political empowerment. This is political empowerment is the most important. Let's see political empowerment here. Here is the most important political empowerment here. Women has been to the enjoy the right to the vote and contest any election over sign independence. They have a right to the participate equally in the discussion making at all levels of governance. The 73rd and 74th Amendment 1993 to the Indian Constitution has served as a breakthrough to about the ensuring equal access and increasing participation in the political power structure by providing 33.3 reservation of seat from women in the rural and urban local bodies here. And this has a play a central role in the process of enhancing women's is a participation in the public life. A bill to be provided reservations of seats in a Lok Sabha and state assemblies is under consideration by Parliament. Our next topic is the most important here, major policy and programs on the socio-economical development. This is the most important point here, major policy and programs on a social economical developments here. We have so far tried to understand various issues related to the socio-economic development and empowerment of disadvantaged groups. Now you may be also like to know about the major policy and programs focus on the social economic development. If we discuss all of them, it would be a two executives. We shall therefore discuss below some of the important policy and programs related to only to be education and health. You may be studying the rest in your senior classes. You know that there is a rest in your senior classes on this topic. First of all, it's come here, education for all. This is the most important point here, education for all. You can very well appreciate that not only India but also the entire international community realize the need for providing education to the all. Under the leadership of the UNESCO, a large number of countries meet Jometine's Thailand in 1990 and they decided to provide education for all by 2000. In 1992, 9 highly populous countries, as namely China, India, Indonesia, Pakistan, Nigeria, Mexico, Bangladesh, Brazil, and Egypt, is congregated at the Delhi to reinforce there is a commitment of to about education for all, means EFA. For the last two decades, India, with there is the help of international agencies, has adopted various measures to avoid achieving their goal of education for all. And these following are the most significant here. The next topic is the most important here, universalization of elementary education. This is the most important. Universalization of elementary education is here. The National Policy of Education 1986 envisages that a free and compulsory education should be provided to the all children up to the age of 14. The 86th Constitutional Amendment Act 2002 made free and compulsory education a fundamental right for all children in the age group of 6 to 14 years. Recently, India Parliament has indicated the Free and Compulsory Education Act of 2009. As a result of the effort made by the central and state governments, and almost 95% of the country has a rural population now has a primary schools within the 1 kilometers and about 85% have a upper primary school within the 3 kilometers. This are resulted in here. This is the most important point here. 95% of country has a rural population now. The primary schools within the 1 kilometer or 95% upper primary school within the 3 kilometers. This is the most important things here of central government. The state growth of the empowerment of children of 6 to 14 years of the age in a primary and upper primary school has gone up steadily. Significant improvement have taken place in the environment of girls and scheduled castes and scheduled tribes here. This is important. There has been a significant increasing in the number of primary and upper primary schools is important here. The central and state government over to the period of time involved a struggle to be a reduced dropout rate and improve to the levels of achievement in a schools. The step taken in the direction are the following here. There is the most important direction here. Creating a parental awareness and communities mobilizations here. And involvement of communities and Panchayati Raj institution. And economical incentives such as a free education, free books and free uniforms. This is the most important here. Free education, free books and free uniform. Improvement in the contents or process of schooling and national program of nutritional support to the primary education means midday meal schemes. This is the most important midday meal schemes here. The following program are specific or named at the universalization of elementary education here. The first of all here, the important is Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan. This is the most important. On the mission program for the achievement, their goal of universalization of elementary school and known as the Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan means SSA was launched in 2001. The goals of SSA are following. This is the most important goals here. The first goal here in enrollment of all 6 to 14 age group children in the school educational grant schemes means EGA center bridge and course by 2005. And second here, the bridge all gender and social categories gap at a primary stage by 2007 and at the elementary education level by 2010. And the next year, universal retention by 2010. And focus on the elementary education of certificate factories equality with their emphasis on their educations for life. This is the most important of SSA, Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan. The next year, national program of national support to the primary education are midday meal schemes. This is the most important. This program was started on is still continually to be attained their goal of universalization of elementary education. The objective of midday meal schemes are here improving the nutrition of status of children in the class 1st to 5th in the government, local body and government aided school and the EGS as the AIE centers. This is the most important. And the next year, encouraging poor children by helping disadvantaged section to be attend school more regularly and help them to concentrate on school rooms activities. This is the most important. And providing nutritional support to the children of primary states in the drought effective area during to the summer vacation. The next year, National Literacy Mission. This is the most important year, National Literacy Missions. The National Literacy Mission means NLM was launched in the 1988. This is the most important period of time here, launched in 1988. Its aim is the importance of functional literacy to be adult non-literate in their age of group 15 to 35 in the country. And the main programs of NLM is where the total literacy campaigns to be impart basic literacy to the adult non-literate. It was following by the post-literacy program to reinforce their literacy skill of the new literate. And then the continuing education program was aimed at the providing facilities like rural libraries and readings room for the new literates and other section of community. In addition, location training was also provided to be new literate and other disadvantaged section of the society through the Jan Shiksha Sansthan. The NLM is result in the following major outcomes here. This is important. It has to be able to cover 597 districts in the country under various literacy program and nearly 124 million people are reported to have been to made literate. This is the most important point here regarding to the NLM here. The literacy rate of the country has also increasing from 52.21% in 1991 to 65.37 in 2001. And registering there's one of the highest decadal growth in literacy so far. That is the most important. And however, if there is a grains, nearly 34% of the non-literate in their 50% age group in the world rare in India. The gender, regional, and social disparities are there still continuously here. This is important here. In a view of the above, government of India has decided that a integrated approach to literacy would be a follow now. Or this means a total literacy campaigns and the post literacy programs here will be now operate under one literacy project. And this approach would be enable to the encouragements literacy problem to be tracked in a holistic manner by the treating the impartings of functional literacy as a continuum rather than to the one of the benefit for the literate person. The input of would be a made goals directed literacy campaigns would be continued to be run in those areas where there are large pools of residual literacy. At the same time, for those who have crossed the basic learning phase and programs of consolidations and vocational skill, integrations with the life skill and the such other asset would be a given priority. This is the most important priority here. And the next point is also important here. Health for all. This is the most important. Health for all. Education for all, but health for all. India was the first country in the world to be launched a comprehensive family planning program in 1951. This is the most important here. India has the first country in the world to launch a comprehensive family planning program in 1951. This was aimed to be enhance individual health and welfare in the country. But there is very few health facilities to be serving their poor people living in a remote rural area. The past five decades have witnessed the significant investment in a development network of health centers all over India. This is important here. The development network of health center all over India. However, though we have not achieved their expected infrastructure of sub-centers, primary health and center and community health center. The government has been trying to provide to the health facilities to all the citizens of India here. So the India has been to making a study to progress in their development in different aspects of health. A lot of progress has to be made to be achieve health for all goal. This is the most important here. The health programs, the health for all by the year 2000. This is the most important period time here. Health for all by the year 2000 was the first incorporated there WHO and UNICEF a meeting at Alma Ata in 1978. As the signatory to this, the government of India is reoriented a priority to the emphasis of primary health care and immunization of family planning and the nutritional support programs. These are the most important programs here. Health care, immunization, family planning and the national nutritional support programs here. The world leader, including India, is committed of himself to be achieved this is ambition to the goal by 2000. During 1951 and 2001, the population in India has increasing almost 3 times for a 36.10 crore in 1951 to 102.7 crore in 2001. This is the most important here, and therefore the health system at their crossroads with their wide gap between the demand and supply. And looking at the distribution of medical facility, we find there is a highly unequal distribution and most of the facilities are concentrated around major cities and towns. To reduce this inequality in the distribution, Government of India started on the ambitious programs known as the National Rural Health Missions mean NRMHM. There is a National Rural Health Mission. And apart from NRHM, governments of India has also launched many programs related to health of women and children like a Janani Suraksha Yojana, means JSA, Janani Suraksha Yojana, and Balika Samriddhi Yojana, means BSY. These are most important schemes here. And the Kishori Shakti Yojana, means KSY. With the success of NRHM, means National Rural Health Mission, the government of India is planning to the launch a similar program of the urban area is called National Urban Health Mission. It means to the NUHM, National Urban Health Mission. This is the most important program here. You may see the box, the name of some major national health program that is began to implement. This is the most important box here. Coming next. On your screen, there is a most important box arrive here. National health programs. There is the central government is recognized here. The first of all here is important national health programs here. National Vector-Borne Disease Control Program. This is the most important program here. National Vector-Borne Disease Control Program means NVBDCP. This is the most important schemes. And the next year, National Filaria Control Program. The filaria is the most important here, or National Filaria Control Programs here. And the next year, National Leprosy Eradication Program. This is the most important here. The leprosy is there is a very dangerous for the men and women here. And devise the National TB Control Program. TB Control Program, there is the most important schemes here. And the next year, National Iodine Deficiency Disorder Control Programs here. This is also important. Iodine Deficiency Disorder Control Program. And the next year, National Mental Health Program. This is the most important. National Mental Health Program. National AIDS Control Program is also important. There is National AIDS Control Program. And the National Cancer Control Program. This is also important for this time. Cancer Control Program. And Universal Immunization Program. This is all important. Universal Immunization Program. And the next year, National Program for Prevention and Control of Defense. Defense, this is the most important. National Program of Prevention of Control of Defense. And pilot of programs and prevention and control of diabetes. Diabetes is the most important in this time. This means to the CVD and there are stroke. National Tobacco Control Program is also important here. National Tobacco Control Program. And the next year, National Program for Control of Blindness. This is a central level program here. There is a given here. The most important here. And this important of topic. This is topics here. And this topics was still this. We will be do the next topics in the next part. And if you like it, mean to the please like, share, subscribe, and share the video as much as possible. Do not think or subscribe and save in your mobile.